Jonathan Bowen here from Corsac Props, and I'm going to give you a little overview on our laser cutter here. So we're in the back of the laser to show you the cool part. And if you can see, that is, we're doing an etching operation in the front of the laser right now. And that is the tube firing a little bit. At the end, I may go ahead and take a picture of this back here for it on full so you can see that operate. But this is the tube. It's a CO2 tube, and it basically creates all the light that we need, and comes out this end here. The hoses and stuff are what put our water through the system. That cools everything down, and so there's water inside the outer tube, and well, it's actually the middle tube. There's an outer tube, which is your CO2 reservoir, an inner tube. The next layer is water, which goes across the center, and then finally the inside, which is where the CO2 is activated by high voltage. This is the mirror 1, and this is what catches the light and sends it towards the front. There's some other equipment back here that kind of failed on us, but there was a beam combiner back here, and the beam combiner was a really good indicator of where the light would be, but when we upgraded the tube and stuff, it wasn't working anymore, so we had to take it out. But it also cost us a few percentage points. So that's the back of the laser. We'll go take a peek at the front, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so this is the front of the laser. I've gone ahead and bypassed our switch here. This is a bad idea normally, but this will help us get in here close, and I'll show you the operation up close. This is the head. This is the cone and the lens. The lens is what focuses the light, and everything's kind of dirty in here. I should have cleaned up, but the lens focuses the light down onto the sheet. As you can see, we are etching some dials. So this is mirror number 3 and mirror number 2, and so the light goes from, if you can see back there, that's mirror number 1 to mirror number 2 to mirror number 3. Focusing these all can be quite a pain in the butt. But the head moves back and forth on our X gantry, and then we have in here a Y gantry. And my laser's really dirty, and you shouldn't leave it that dirty, but I do. So that's the head, and now that everything's done, we're going to go ahead and turn her on. So unpause here, and as you can see, the head's moving back and forth, and as you saw in the back, that chatter is the laser coming on and removing material from the top layer here, and that's really important for this kind of operation, which is a raster etch. You have vector etch, which would be a full-on speed etch or a vector cut, but then this is a raster etch. So this is how you get details and stuff. And this is currently some MCAF, and these dials are being etched for a new project we're working on. But that is the main operation, and so we'll talk about some of the accessories here and go over a little bit of the other components involved in the laser cutter. In the back there, you see that scoop. That is the evacuation, or where the exhaust goes out. That is very important because when I don't know if you can see it, but see that little bit of smoke that's is being created by this operation. When it's actually cutting, it'll produce even more of that. That's getting sucked down through that scoop, and then you look over the trash can here. You might be able to see it. So we have a 4-inch, I think it's a 4-inch hose there that goes out, and then we have a squirrel cage down here, which is actually a dust collector from Harbor Freight. This is upgraded from the main unit we originally bought, but then that goes, outside, and ultimately, we take a peek out here. This is our chimney, and then it goes to, the outside. And the reason for that is to get all of the bad smoke and fumes and stuff outside, and the chimney and stuff is to make it go go up higher, so when we step out that door we don't get blasted. And it keeps it kind of quiet on the outside, which is good as well. So that's evacuation. That's a very important part of the laser, and because you got to keep that dust and fumes and stuff you know, away from you, because some of it can be harmful and generally just stink up the room. As you can see, these hoses in the back here, these are this is the air input. The air isn't on right now because it's an etch operation. When it switches to a cut operation, we'll have air assist. So this is coming from our external air compressor, and this is our shutoff. This is our shunt. This goes out to the rest of the shop, to the airbrush and some other stuff. This is our maintenance shutoff that we put in because, well, you need to shunt that, be able to shut this off to do maintenance here. Actually, I just noticed we have a problem. We're actually kind of full of water in here, so I got a blast of water. We've been using the airbrush for some other, or the air compressor, a little bit, so we'll have to empty this after this operation's done. But this is the first filter, and this filter takes out the water, and so we want to get the moisture out of the air, and that's what this does. Then we have our automatic solenoid valve here. That's run by the laser. It's not on right now, but we've got a system set up so that when it does tell it to blow, it will turn on and open this valve. This is a ball valve we use. This is what basically is a flow restrictor, because we want to restrict how much air is coming out, because we don't need full pressure, because this tank is at what, like 120, and we don't want that full air pressure. So what we're doing here is just restricting the CFM from the tank. That cuts down on the cycle time on the tank, but it also you know, it helps us dial it in down there so that the tank doesn't run as much, and so that the laser gets you know, just enough air and not enough to blow this hose. We've blown this hose off a few times by not having this set too high. And then this is our final filter stage. This is for the oil. We have an oil-based compressor, so if you have an oil-based compressor in your line, you've got to have one of these, because as you can see, a little bit of oil gets through the system, and you do not want that on your lens. If that goes through the system and ends up on your lens, we've actually damaged the lens. This is a pressure regulator that doesn't need to be there. It actually is going to get removed next time I pull this down. It doesn't do anything. It was an experiment, but it didn't work. So that is the airline, and the airline comes all the way down here. Give you a view of that. We're almost done with this etch. And over here is where all the intakes happen. Oh. I bumped my... I think we actually messed this up now, because I think we missed 2 or 3 runs, but bumped our little thing off the switch there. But that's the water intake. This is the valve control system. This takes a signal from the controller inside the laser and opens and closes that valve. And as you can see, we've got our toolbox here. But this is the water chiller. It's not really a chiller. This is more like a giant radiator box. It's got a reservoir in it. It's full of water, and it tries to cool it down. Right now it's at room temperature because we haven't been running today. But the CW, I think 5000 has an actual chiller in it, which will actually cool down the laser. And then this is our little ghetto rig for turning on all the accessories and stuff, and running the solenoids and stuff. That's just a little switch there that I can flip. And so that's most of the laser in a nutshell. Like I said, the etch operation here is almost done, and once that finishes, it'll switch to a cutting operation. And we'll go ahead and show you that, and then we'll show you the tube again to finish out. But that's generally what you'll see with a laser cutter and how it operates. We actually have ours rigged with a camera, which is an older cell phone, and it's sort of jury-rigged into the ceiling, but that's for our Twitch streaming. So you can see the laser running while we're on the Twitch stream. That's also why we have these lights here, these LEDs all along the outside edge. That's to get a little bit more illumination in here when we are, you know, filming it. And looks like we're just about done, and it's going to switch to that other operation, so we'll go ahead and check that out here in a second. I don't know if you can see it, but we actually did mess this up. There's a couple sections that are, we missed one or two of the back and forth, but okay, so now we're going to switch to the cutting operation, and as you can see, that's quite a bit of, a lot more power, and it's cutting all the way through the material now, and our air assist has turned on, and that air assist makes sure that everything's clear, so that you don't get dust and dirt up on your lens. So we'll go ahead and look at the back now, and I'll show you that from the rear. All right, as you can see, it's a lot more powerful back here. We're now cutting at 100% power at a full time, and it's really awesome back here when this is running. Normally we keep this all closed up because this tube is glass and it's very delicate, and while it looks cool, it's not something you want to mess with. It's also got 5,000 watts running through it. So, but that's our laser cutter. I hope you enjoyed this short little video on what we're doing here. And we'll have a couple more videos on our laser cutter here in the future. But thank you very much for watching, and hope we'll see you, you know, subscribe and hang out a little bit more for some more videos on our laser cutter and more stuff like that. Thank you. Get into some of the corners a little bit better. But that's not what we're worried about. The big problem we did have is that when you apply that first dab of rub and buff to the foam brush, you end up having like almost a hot spot. It worked out well because the armor looks like it's worn, and maybe there's some areas that are cleaner than others, and so it worked out fine with the overall look of the piece. But it may not be what you're looking for.